Hey guys, it's Candy. Welcome back to Our Family Nest. So today I'm so excited to share with you guys the books that are on my summer reading list. I really struggled going through all the books on my bookshelf and trying to determine which books I was going to try to read for summer and how many books do I think I'll read this summer. So far, here it is, the end of May, I've read 31 books so far this year. So I just assumed by doing the math, that's about 6 books a month. So I'm sure in summertime I could read at least 6 books a month. I actually feel like I could read more if I wanted to. I picked out a few extras just in case. I think I picked out like 20 books or 21 books, something like that. And we're just gonna jump into it. I'm gonna show you guys the books that I want to read, and then I'll also kind of just tell you like a tiny bit of what the book is about or maybe why I want to read it. So I'm gonna start sharing, but I want you to know ahead of time, I'm not sharing these in any particular order. If you're a reader, how this works, when you're done reading a book, you never know what you want to read next. Maybe you need a break from the rom-coms, maybe you need a break from thrillers, you want to try something different. So I would never try to put my to be read pile in order because I would never stick to it. I definitely want to read this summer A Court of Thorns and Roses series. I bought the box set because I wanted them in paperback, and the 5th book doesn't come out in paperback until September 6th. So I would probably wait and read these like sometime in August, maybe mid-August, so that way I can read them all in a row once the 5th book comes out in paperback. And I'll probably just end up getting rid of this box set part and putting all the books on my shelf together. We'll see. So if you don't know what those books are about, I just want to read this to you because I don't normally read these types of books, so it's hard for me to kind of like explain in my own words. But it says, when 19-year-old huntress Feyre, is that F-E-Y-R-E? Fairy? Yeah, Fairy. Kills a wolf in the woods, a terrifying creature arrives to demand retribution. Dragged to a treacherous, magical land she knows about only from legends, Fairy discovers that her captor is not only truly a beast, but one of the lethal, immortal fairies who once ruled her world. So it's definitely more fantasy. A lot of the words and stuff in the book are like words we've never heard of before, but it keeps it super interesting. And I'm excited to read something a little different than my normal rom-com thriller. If you don't know what rom-com is, it's romantic comedy. There's contemporary romance, there's chick lit, there's so many different ways to refer to the kind of books that I love to read. So let's jump into all of the like contemporary romance rom-com books that I want to read this summer. This is probably going to be the next book that I read when I get done reading. Right now I'm reading a thriller on my Kindle called The Housemaid, I believe it is. It's a really, really good thriller book. If you want to add a thriller on your to-be read list, I highly recommend that one. Okay, so Christina Lauren, Something Wilder, they reached out to me and they actually sent me this book. Appreciate that so much. I think that I was speechless the first time I received an email from like a publishing company wanting to send me a book ahead of time, like nothing cooler. But anyways, Christina Lauren is actually 2 different women that write their books together, if you didn't know. And their books are always kind of spicy, always really like flirtatious and just super entertaining. Kind of like a light read, easy to read, and the perfect beach or summer read in my opinion. This book is actually about a couple, Leo and Lily. Apparently they have a past, something that they've never really dealt with, and their current circumstances bring them to a situation where are they going to come together and make things work for this group of people, something to do with like a tour guide or something like that. And it says they need to decide whether they'll risk their lives and hearts on the adventure of a lifetime. Kind of sounds like the friends before lovers trope, or maybe even enemies before lovers. I can't quite tell, but usually their books are that sort of category. Next we have Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, but I highly recommend the series of 3 books that she wrote, the Friend Zone series. So good. Book 2 is probably one of the best books that I've read in 2022. So good. And so this is a standalone book, so I don't really know anything about this one other than I know that her books, she is so good at describing her characters that when I was recommending them to Asha to read, I'm like, she just describes her male characters so well and makes them so hot and attractive, and you're just in love with these men in a book that you're never gonna meet, but she's just so good. I don't know how else to explain it. So good at describing her characters that you feel like you can see them and you know them and you love them. Jennifer Weiner. Let's see. Every book I have read of hers has been so good. Highly recommend, except the one that I read before this one. And I'm gonna look it up. I read it last summer. It was called That Summer. And I don't even think I finished it. And if you go on Goodreads and you read about That Summer, there was a lot of people that really struggled with that book. I don't know why. So far, the reviews on this one has been really, really promising. So I'm excited to dive into this one this summer for sure. I mean, the cover alone makes you want to read it in the summertime or on the beach somewhere if you're lucky enough to be at the beach at all this summer. This book is about like family drama, which I absolutely love. And the final part of the synopsis here is when the wedding day arrives, lovers are revealed as their true selves, misunderstandings take on a life of their own, and secrets come to life. So I love it. Confrontations, revelations, just family drama, summertime, wedding planning, sounds perfect. All right, Mary Kay Andrews. I don't know if I've read any of her books. I got this one because I was at Target and 30% off stickers. Sometimes I just can't help myself when I'm at Target and I buy books that I don't have. That's why I have the Goodreads account, which you can follow me, by the way. It's linked down below in the description, or look up Our Family Nest on Goodreads, you'll find me. That's why I have Goodreads though, is to keep track, because sometimes I'm like, wait, do I have that book or do I want that book? So it's nice to keep track on Goodreads. I actually have another book. Oh, I had the book The Newcomer by Mary Kay Andrews that I would like to read. But what I was gonna say is, I don't know if I've read any of her books before to know if these are good stories or not. I don't know what any of her books are even about. She's really good at making cute covers, and I know a lot of people are big fans of her books, so gonna give this one a try this summer. Ellen Hildebrand, her books, I don't think I've read a bad one yet that I can recall. They're just so heartwarming. They always have sad scenes. Usually I cry at some point. Relationship drama. I don't know if all of her books, the majority of her books take place in Nantucket, where I believe she lives, like in real life. Again, always like family drama, relationship problems, lies, deception, always found in her books. This is one of her newer books, published in 2021, so that's why I picked this one up. Kristen Hanna, kind of like the same thing. Her books are all generally really, really good. Picked this one up just for the same reason. Also from 2021, just published in a paperback not too long ago. This says, Nora Bridge walked out on her marriage and left her daughters behind. She has since become a celebrity radio talk show host and newspaper columnist, beloved for her moral advice. That sounds like a dream job. So yeah. Love, actually, this one's probably going to be, I'm going to probably read this one sooner than later. All right, this one, I was actually out of town on a little trip with my mom, went into the bookstore, did not need to go into the bookstore, and picked up 2 books during that trip. This was one of them. Taylor Jenkins Reid, the only book I've read of hers so far is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and that book was so good. Loved it so much. I actually have Malibu Rising, one of my book of the month club selections. Still haven't read that yet, just because I just love reading paperback books so much more than hardcover books that I don't know. It's hard for me to read a hardcover book. I have to really, really want to read it. And I don't know why I buy hardcover sometimes, but nothing beats a paperback. So this one is about a couple who are high school sweethearts. They get married. Something tragic happens to the husband and he goes missing. She ends up reconnecting with like another man from her past, I believe, and starts a relationship with him, and then all kinds of stuff starts happening. The other book that I picked up that day when I went to the bookstore was this one. Is this not the cutest cover of a book you've ever seen? Never heard of the book, The Standin, Lily Chu, never heard of the author, but holy crap, kudos to whoever created this book. The colors, just perfect. So this book sounds like such a cute story. So basically this girl, she's down and out on her luck. She's trying to get her mom into this nursing home. I believe she got like fired from her job or something. And she happens to look very, very similar to this famous actress. And the actress gives her a proposition of, hey, do you want to stand in for me? I don't know when. So I'm not really sure why she wants her to like impersonate her, but the girl ends up like falling for her boyfriend. Like she hates him, but she loves him. And then when she finds out the real reason why the girl wanted her to stand in for her at the first place, there's like all this drama and kind of like, does she get her heart broken or does she fall in love? Like it just sounds like a really cute, entertaining story, I thought. Okay, an author that I have never read any books from, but seems to be really popular all over Instagram is Tessa Bailey. I think her books might have a little bit of spice to them, but don't quote me on that because I've never read her books. Maybe you guys can comment down below and tell me if that's true or not. But these are actually part of a series. I don't know if there's going to be more, but this one is first. And then this one, don't have any idea what they are about. I just thought they were super cute. And I also wanted to try out some books by this author because she just seems to be all over Instagram and TikTok lately. Oh, I just realized I had another Mary Kay Andrews book in my summer reading list pile. I bought this one a while ago. I wonder what the publishing date is on this one. This one's 2019. Sunset Beach, and it's a thick girl. Well, 550 pages, not too bad, but tell me that book doesn't scream summer. So I wasn't really sure what this book was about because it was a long time since I bought it, but just read the back and it's about Drew. She's out of a job, down on her luck. She ends up taking a job for a law firm in a town of Sunset Beach. So everything's boring. She hated the job till all of a sudden there is a suspicious death at the beach resort nearby, and it exposes possible corruption of her father's law firm. Sounds pretty interesting, almost like a little bit of thriller in there. All right, last rom-com is One Italian Summer. I think it's super cute, very short book. And honestly, the reviews on this are a little bit mixed, but so many people have been reading it lately that I have to read it and form my own opinion. It is from the author In 5 Years. Now, oh my gosh, if you have not read that book In 5 Years, I don't remember if I read it in 2021 or 2020, but one of my favorites, such a good book. I'm pretty sure I read it in like one day, if not 2 days for sure. It takes place on the Amalfi Coast, so at the very least, I'm gonna learn a little bit of geography in a location that is one of my dream vacations. So even if the story is not that great, I have a feeling the picturesque scenery is going to be a great summer read. Lastly, I picked some thrillers to add to my list just because that's a lot of freaking romance. Even though it's summertime and I feel like those books are the best, like my favorite kind of books to read in the summertime, I can't keep on that kind of reading path without adding some thrillers in there. So again, no particular order. I'm just gonna grab one of these whenever I'm like, okay, lady needs a break from all this romance. Let's read a thriller. Some of the ones that I bought recently that I want to read, and look at how I just love short books for some reason. This one, it says, all children have imaginary friends. Georgina tells herself it's perfectly normal. They grow out of it eventually. But when her 7-year-old son, Cody, tells her about new Granny, the friend he's met in the park, Georgina is instantly suspicious. So that sounds really creepy. How many books are there like this? The woman in the window, the woman at the door, the woman across the street. This one I picked up just because it was in the clearance section. I had read The Islanders by this author and it was a really good book. So I was like, gotta try this one. I've had this for a while. I really want to read it, but I just tend to like, it's not at the top of my list, but I really want to read this summer because it's a thriller, but based on the cover, it looks like a summer read. And actually this author just came out with a new book, or maybe it's coming out within the next couple weeks, that I added to my want to read list on Goodreads. So I'm excited to read this, and then if it's good, I'll probably be ordering the other one as well. Not that I need any more books. And then the last two thrillers are actually books that I recently got in my Book of the Month subscription. I signed up for it. I think I've been getting it for 3 months now. You guys can use my link below if you want to do book in the month and do your first month for only $5. After that, I think it's $14.99. If you pay for a year up front, it's cheaper. That's what I did. I'm all for saving the money, so paid for a year up front. The nice thing about it is, like, say when the June 1st books come out and you look at it and you're like, ooh, I don't really like any of those, because they usually have like 5 or more books to pick from. And if you don't like any, you can just skip and you don't lose anything. Like, you still have all those credits left because they just give you credits. So far, I've enjoyed being part of the club. Do I wish they were paperbacks? Yes, because you guys know how I feel about hardcovers. But these are both thrillers. I'm not sure specifically what it's about, other than this lady has a baby and then like all kinds of crazy stuff starts happening. She's like imagining things. She thinks she's losing her mind. And then she's just really upset with herself because motherhood's just not what she thought it was gonna be. It says a tense, page-turning psychological drama about the making and breaking of a family and a woman whose experience of motherhood is nothing at all like what she hoped for and everything she feared. Just sounded really good to me. And then this one, The Flicker in the Dark. I don't even need to tell you what it's about. If you like thrillers, title's great, cover's great. I want to read this book. And it's getting great reviews. That always helps too. I always look up before I get any book, whether it be off Book of the Month, at a bookstore, whatever, look it up on Goodreads. It needs to be at like a 4.0 rating or above, or really, really darn close, or an author that I just particularly like. And the nice thing is, if you had the Goodreads app on your phone, you can scan books right in the bookstore or Target or wherever you are. The cover of the book, the back of the book barcode, and it brings up the profile of that book so you have the reviews. That is it, guys. That was a lot of books. Who thinks I'm actually going to get done with all those books this summer? Who thinks that somewhere along the lines over the next 3 months, because that's what I think of when I think of summer, June, July, August, right? Who thinks that I'll end up reading other books that I buy in the meantime first before I read some of these books? Because if you say yes, you're not wrong. That's the hardest part. That's what happens where, like, I'll be at the bookstore and I'll be like, ooh, like, here's an example. Bought this at Barnes & Noble because it was the buy one, get one half off, right? Looks really good, has great ratings on Goodreads. But there's so many other books that I have bought since then that books like this just get pushed to the bottom of the pile. I think buying books sometimes is even more enjoyable than reading books, which is a bad hobby to have, but it's so much fun. So that is it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully I gave you guys some ideas of some books to add to your own summer reading list. If there's any books that you think that I just have to buy or have to add to my summer reading list, please comment them down below. Also be sure to follow me on Instagram because I post about books like in my Instagram stories and stuff as I read them. And yeah, I think that covers everything. Thanks guys for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.